Hey everybody, it's Koya here with your UniKOY Intuition. I'll wait a couple of minutes, but not long. Y'all know I ain't gonna wait that long, because, I'm just gonna post it anyway. Hope everybody's feeling okay today, feeling great, feeling good. I actually feel really good today. Let me tell y'all something. That moon, if you did your releases during that moon, you should feel good, especially if you've been maintaining. Of course you have to cleanse. I mean, like, things are going to come out, that you have to deal with, but you should be able to like get past those and like kind of come into some more clarity. Like right now, like I was in such a I don't even know how to explain it. It's like a spiral in my mind. And so, like, finally got some, clearness and clarity and was able to just breathe. And then the other thing that we have to think about is, making sure you stay positive, pray, when you have those moments of, feeling like you just can't get a grasp on what's happening. It doesn't mean that there aren't things happening, right? That's not what that means. It doesn't mean that you don't have outside influences. It doesn't mean that that's not happening, because it could be happening. But if you try to stay like in your truth, right? That's why it's so important to learn ourselves, because if you stay in your truth, then you're able to basically reroute that, you know what I'm saying? So you can kind of just breathe a little bit. Also, not always focused on the past things or even the things that are currently happening. Focusing on the things that you've already manifested, already prayed for, already put into existence. When we worry so much about the things happening around us, doesn't mean you don't need to handle the things around you, right? Doesn't mean you don't need to set boundaries. It doesn't mean you don't need to clear your path. But it's really about being able to step back and assess, and also assess your parts in things. Be able to acknowledge if you have also, allowed your thoughts to infiltrate the energies going on, but also if your brain can help feed things like, and I've talked to y'all about spiritual attacks, and that was absolutely happening. But what happened with that is this, like, your mental state becomes convoluted with too much, and then you're just like, what's what, right? But once you get that clarity, and really start learning how to protect yourself differently and cleanse your energy, and also like learning to reassess your circles, and then also like learn to reassess your circles even if it's for a moment, like even if you just need clarity, right? And then forgiveness. I really want people to think about forgiveness. It's super important. Hold on. So yeah, so and then the other thing I want to talk about, like, and I think I've like posted stuff about this before and talked about it before, and this has always been my thing. Like, I grew up with the principles of like the community and the village taking care of, each other, and the idea of like co-ops and like builds and community builds, and like when I talk about the new world and when I talk about what that should look like that's absolutely what I believe God has planned for it to look like. Because there has to be a sense of harmony and peace that comes into the world at some point. And we do need to start being able to take care of each other and also ourselves, right? There has to be a balance, but also it's about like like-minded communities. Like, you're not going to always look like the people you're like-minded with. You're not going to always, exactly have everything. It's not going to always look maybe the way you want it to, but like that's what's so cool about like soul families and learning to like get involved with the communities that you are like-minded with. And also staying on your path. It's not about like the search for your purpose, right? It's just about staying on your path, like following those instructions and following what is in your heart. Like that's why I always talk about the inner child. Like the inner child, work is because those dreams we have as children before anything taints that pureness, those things are usually the things that we're supposed to tap into. It really usually has something to do with our path, our mission. And everybody has different reasons they're here, right? But at the end of the day, like I said yesterday, claim what's yours, and what's yours is what is yours. And if you've done the work and you have prayed and you are manifesting and you are following those directions, then God is going to bless you. And God probably has already blessed you, right? You make sure you thank your ancestors. Make sure you thank your spirit guides. Make sure you thank God every day, every second that you get a blessing or something that comes out of the blue, or, just waking up in the morning. So, because they're working hard, they're working overtime to make sure that when we communicate with them, that they communicate back, right? Whatever that looks like for you. And staying grounded in that, and just, we have to stop the comparing with each other. We have to stop like wanting to know why somebody has, the feeling they have about something. Now you can learn about it, but we really have to learn not to chastise people. We have to learn how to not cast judgment upon the things that we have chosen to do, because in every part of our lives, we walk in such a different form of ourselves. And there are times in my life where me, and I'm saying with anybody, but me personally, like where I have absolutely stayed in a lower energy that I should have, or I cloaked my energy to kind of just fit into the situation, so I wasn't standing out, wasn't weird or whatever, right? And now it's like, well, I'm just who I am, like, clearly, right? So I'm just like, I am who I am, and I am who I am wherever I am. And I think that's kind of like how I've been moving recently. And I kind of always move like that, which is why the whole unicorn thing is like a thing. But, I just was like listening to music yesterday, and I was cleaning my home. Like, that's another thing. When your mental space is messed up, like, you also got to consider your environment. Is your environment messed up? Like, is it clouded? Is there a lot of stuff around? Like, are you not purging things? Are you keeping things you had for a million years that you ain't looked at in a million years? Like, all of that has to do with like shifting your energy, right? If you manifest, let's say you manifest in a big house, a car, and a new man, right? Have you made room for it? Have you claimed that that's already yours? Did you put that out and let it go? Or are you trying to like shift and maneuver, and, or are you living in your natural energy? Are you just like, oh, I feel like speaking to this person today. Oh, I'm gonna see what's up with this person. Or are you like, oh my God, like, should I do, like, that's where it goes wrong. That's where people do have the opportunity to use things like manipulation and dark magic and dark energies. Like, that is where they have that opportunity to come in, because you're doubting yourself and you're doubting what God has already promised you, right? And I can speak on this today because I've been going through transformations, but I'm still a work in progress, and I'm very well aware that I've always resonated highly with the idea of building communities and collectives, and being able to have people in spaces that they like being around each other. They like being around each other's kids. They like being around each other's friends. Like, I'm one of those people, like, I'm not going to be able to create if I'm not in a place that is conducive to that, right? And maybe there's some people that can work around that, but like, why? For what? Why are we doing that, right? So, divine timing, I know people get so frustrated. I get frustrated every time I hear it, right? But I've had to learn patience, and divine timing is so funny because, like, the phrase that I keep saying is not happening to you, it's happening for you. And that phrase has come up so many times because, I'm a person, like, I'm super open, and, y'all will learn more and more about what I'm talking about. But the things that I've been through, is I think that it felt like, oh my God, like, why is this happening to me? Like, oh my God, like, why am I going through this? Like, oh my God, like, what did I do to deserve this? Right. But it wasn't about like, what did I did to deserve? It's like, it's building you, it's building it's building that character up, because at some point you ask God for something. And these are the things that you're going to have to go through. These are the trials and tribulations, the sacrifices, whatever it is, for the big thing that you asked for at the end. And then I had to really think about that when I was younger. Like, what did I pray to God for? Like, y'all wouldn't believe me if I said it. Like, because I definitely was the kid that was very much like, I want world peace, right? But also it'd be like, I want to be a fairy, and I want to be a unicorn, and I want to be magic, and I want to, create magical movies, and I want to create, fanciful movies. And I was always the person that was kind of like, yeah, when it was younger, it probably came off as judgment, but it was more like the judge of like goodness. Like, I would just be like, I don't understand why you're acting like that. Like, just, where's the goodness? Like, where are the smiles? Where are the laughs? All of that. And I think the more we get, like, you put yourself in these positions, but like, I'm very much a person where, like, I'm not saying I'll take the harder road on purpose. Do I like a challenge sometimes? Absolutely. But I also learn more, and I tend to put myself in positions that either people wouldn't expect, or God is calling me to go there for some reason, or it's like I feel, oh my God, like, I feel like there's something that's supposed to happen here, and it may not even. Here's the thing we have to learn: God also gives you a time where you're supposed to leave. If you choose to stay, doesn't mean there's not still more work to be done, right? But it means you've rerouted something, right? You shifted something. So now you're going to go into another lesson. I know the things that I've asked God for, just an accumulative, like, over my life. So I already knew, like, I understand now that why my road had to look the way it looked, why I have to put certain boundaries up, why there are certain things happening, because I had to get out of my comfort zone. I had to, like, not rely on certain things or certain people to get me to where I was going, or even assist in that, because one, they may not even understand it. They may not understand what I'm here for. You know what I'm saying? And that's not really for me to, like, break down to anybody either, like, because I know what I'm here for. So, but at the end of the day, I think, I knew that I was supposed to come here to do something, to shift thinking, to bring love in a certain way, to show love, to give that space and that grace. And that's why I always talk about, like, creating safe spaces for people, specifically when I'm talking about my community of having a safe space for men, having a safe space for women, being able to, like, what I realized is, like, right now, where this country is right now, it's just not conducive for our people right now. And I do realize that, I've been talking to God and listening, and I'm just like, how do we fix that problem if we're in a place that really isn't giving us a space to even feel that comfortable? Like, if I'm talking about environments, like, I feel like we're all in an environment, especially in the U.S. I'm speaking about the U.S., but we're in an environment as Black people that is it conducive to us growing? You know what I'm saying? And I've been having these, like, dreams and these visions and these, like, moments of, like, it's time to create that new world. It's time to create that new village, that community. It's time to take back, like, gentrification. It's trying to redirect that and really just build up our communities. Like, we've allowed that for too long now. I believe we've allowed that for way too long, for our communities to be taken away from us. And some of us, like, have families and generations that were in houses and homes, specifically, like, here in the DC area, like, that, like, my home that I lived at, like, oh my God, like it's still the home that I will reside in at some point in life. But it's one of those like things where it's like when you're little, you're like, oh, like maybe this house will go to like, this next person. And, and it's so many of us lost those legacy homes and things like that because we couldn't afford it. And then there's the other demographic, which is very much my demographic. And me and my godbrother talk about this all the time. Like we're like, there's a large group of like unseen, unheard, and overlooked, and I think that's the community that people assume are okay, and that's like somewhere between the 30s and the 40s, right? Sometimes it can be a little bit younger, but it's really that age demographic of where you think people are grown and they taking care of their own and fine, right? But then we got a lot of contractors, we got a lot of people that are doing like residential things and things like that. So people who are like in and out of their income, but like in their income, but like in and out of their income, but they have high skill levels and things like that. If you don't have certain things on that list to get assistance, to get help, then you don't get the help. Like I'm very much sometimes an overlooked person because I have high skill level. I have a lot of skills. And so, and then on top of that, I do contract work. I also have my own business. But I, don't have any children. I'm 40 and I don't have any other like, not an emergency like, I'm in an abusive relationship or, any of past records or anything like that. So like the people who are just like me, right? Just like living my regular life, trying to like, get things moving and always are, I'm always in a position where I'm very blessed to receive the opportunities that I have though, so I'm always protecting, always taken care of. But I thought about those resources. Like, so when I was going through court cases and things like that, like I was like, man, if I didn't have my parents to ask for assistance, to ask for help, if I didn't have some of that village to just even ask, like, what would I have done? And I was like, Raptor, we got to provide for that demographic. We have to be able to like look at them and not be like, oh, you should be good because you ain't got no kids and like you ain't got no bit. Like, what? You got bills. First of all, yes, you have bills, but also you are overlooked because you don't have that. You don't have those things. Like, so, we don't necessarily celebrate those people. We don't necessarily assist those people. We don't necessarily ask those people if they're okay because we just assume like you ain't got no kids, so you ain't got no responsibilities. What universe do y'all live in where kids is the only responsibility? Also, most of us are like super aunties, super uncles, like godmothers, godparents doing the most, right? So, I think we have to think about that and we have to find ways to look after those demographics. Also, creating spaces for people to be able to be contractors and build their own businesses and not have to be stuck into some 9-to-5 that ain't gonna be lasting long anyway. Like that system is breaking down. So the new world is really about instilling those things. It's time for us to really create within the communities that we choose to now be a part of, the like minds that we would like to be around, to create what your holidays look like, what your love looks like, what money structures look like, what partnership looks like, what union looks like, what school curriculum looks like. We're moving into a place where we're going back into homeschool a lot, especially in our culture, we're thinking about it. But it's because we don't have schools that make our children feel safe. Like the information is safe. Like we don't feel safe right now because you got the COVID and everything else going on, right? So I think it's about us being able to have that conversation. Like we need to love more. We need to have more fun, but we also need to find ways to build those villages up so people are not out here just on their own. And really coming into, like, look at your circles, build your soul families up. Like, ask people, like, how can you contribute? How can you help out? Like, you'll be very shocked, like, when you talk to people, like, who wants to be involved with what? But I think it's time for that, and it's absolutely time. Like, I know that for sure. So a lot of my downloads and messages have been about that, like that process into going into creating. Really, I believe what the world should be, like how we should be moving, how we should be living around each other, like. And us as a people, we gotta have our own space now. Like, I think it's time for us to be able to create a place for us to be that we feel like we're home. Like, not as somebody else's home, it's a home that we feel welcomed in. And I believe that that's one of the missions that are going to come into fruition. And I believe that that is what people are preparing to do. So continue, talking to your spirit guys. Continue talking to God, because you gotta tap in. It's time to tap in. If you are not tapped in, you're gonna get left behind. You know what I'm saying? So it's just time to get ready to start forgiving people. And forgiveness doesn't even have to be to that person's face. Have that conversation with God. Forgive you have to deal with the forgiveness that way, right? If you have the opportunity to forgive somebody, face to face or in person, whatever, then that's fine. But like, you can't hold on to it, right? Like, okay, these things happened. They happened. They did not happen to me. They happened for me. And once you realize that, you can really just like release. Very different. And you let people be who they're going to be. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't share information. It doesn't mean that you don't, try to, but at the end of the day, no matter what somebody's done to you, no matter if somebody has messed up intentions, if somebody, has done something to, reroute you in any type of way or put you down, the reality of it is, the end of the day, we all make mistakes. We all sin. And the reality of it is like, we ain't got to suffer for it. Why? We don't need to suffer for it. Ask for forgiveness. Ask for peace of mind. Ask for God to remove those things from you that no longer serve you. And you can wrap it up in one bundle like that. He know what to remove. You know what I'm saying? And balancing your masculine and feminine, right? You know what I'm saying? Not being scared to share your emotions, because it's really what keeps us grounded. Like, we have to tap into love. Like, you have to open your heart, or you're just going to be making decisions out here based off of ego. And I think people are so scared, or think they don't have time to, deal with these things. Your spirituality, your relationship with God or something bigger than yourself, and your relationship with your heart and how you show that is how we have to move. If you are not moving in that way, you will get left behind to be handled in whatever way God is going to deal with that. But I believe that it's time for people to just, get it together and pack their bags for the new life. You know what I'm saying? Because the old ways been dead. Everybody's just holding on to them. But those people who are going to be left behind are probably those people who are fighting it the most, okay? And those are going to be the people that have done so many things that karmically, people got to pay up. Now, do I pay for people to be redeemed all the time? All the time. I pray about, I ask God to, give them an opportunity to see, the truth, or give them an opportunity to see where they could shift their energy, give them an opportunity, and that's free will after that. I can't do nothing about that. But karmically, whatever you have put out there, you're going to have, it's going to come, you have to deal with it in some way. So remember that when you're also moving in that energy, moving in that light. And then just the forgiveness is really so you can move on and do what you need to do. It doesn't mean everybody need to be in your space. You might need to limit your space, because it also is about protecting your energy and protecting your state of mind. Like, if you know your state of mind ain't right, you gotta remove yourself. I don't care if it's Christmas Day. You can ask my family. My family know I will remove myself from a holiday real fast. My mental state, like, if I'm like, too many people, can't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I didn't used to be like that. I was a person that showed up to everything on time, with food in hand, cooking everything. Hey, Debbie. And make sure you talk to your village around you. And so it's super important because sometimes we don't ask, like, especially like as a light worker and a healer and stuff, like, I don't always ask people for help. I don't always be like, look, I'm going through this or this is going on, because I'm constantly like, my brain is constantly creating something, or my brain is constantly giving somebody a message or something like that. So like I had to like find time to like be like, woo, okay, let's deal with Koya stuff, so I can clear Koya stuff, so I can get a clear mind and get on this path to the things God purpose for me, because I gotta go to this castle that I asked for when I was little. Okay, just saying, these are the things I was asking for when I was little. And also still today. That has not changed. I still ask for the same. I'm still very magical in the things that I ask for. But like when I used to say stuff like, like back in the like 90s, the 80s, early 80s, 90s, so we'd be like, peace in the Middle East. Like I really meant that though. Like I really meant it. Like I wasn't saying it as a trend. Like I really meant it. Like I want to save the world. And people would just look at me and roll their eyes. And people would look at me like, oh my God, like here she go again, talk about she want to save the world. And, but like that's just how I think. I'm always in a collective state of being, because one, I like people, and I like being around people, and I like teamwork. Like I like to build. I don't always like to do things solo. I don't even like, I'll grieve and clear in solo, but like sometimes I like to be around a person and just cry. So, but we got to use love. We have to show love. Like we have to like, because it's really just it's what like brings everything to making sense. Like at the end of the day, if you move in love, like your intentions are always gonna be right. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's why you gotta tap in. That's why you gotta like talk to God, find your way of tapping in, whatever that is. And then like do things that make you happy. Try to stay, in good energy. Play music that makes you happy, that keeps your energy up. Manifest with certain music. Like right now I'm listening to Bob Marley. I've been on my Bob Marley kick a lot. I've been on a couple little different. I've been on my Beyonce kick a lot. I've been like really on the Beyonce. I don't know. Beyonce, Erykah Badu, Jill Scott. Who else I've been listening to a lot? Sir. Bob Marley for sure. Like even went into some like Marvin Gaye. Like, so just like tapping into some like different energies, because y'all know I love music. Like music has always been something that I've used to kind of like just navigate my energy differently. And I like all types of music, but so I do channel through music. So spirit and ancestors, God, I can channel through the music sometimes, and it depends on what I'm doing and like where my focus is at. But that's new. That's fairly new. That's a fairly new gift. But it's cool. It's a cool gift. Like, because I listen to music all the time. So, I just dream big, manifest big, and never think that what you're putting out there to God and asking for is too big. Like, never think that it's not something you can't get, but you got to do the work. But also know that what you ask for, you may put you in a position where you may have to leave things behind in order to achieve those goals. And it doesn't have to be a nasty thing, right? Like I'm over these people. And like, it doesn't have to be that. It can just be like, okay, well, I'm going on this part of my journey with these people and over here. And I'll see y'all when I get back or not. It's one of those things. Depends on the people. But find a space in your energy and your soul to forgive, no matter how nasty someone is, no matter how selfish someone feels, no matter what is going on with that person, what that person has done. It ain't about you. That's their energy. It's not about you. And you have to realize that. And it doesn't matter who it is. Do not assume that people that birthed you, or that you are blood relatives, or your husband, or your wife, or your kid. Like, do not assume that there are not lessons that are going to come out of those people. Do not assume that those people are going to have your best interests at heart. Do not assume that, because they're just individuals. They're just the vessel that brought you here. They're just the vessel that was attached to this label, like they're this person in your life right now, right? Because your child could technically in the past life be your whole husband. That's what I'm saying. Like, the positions don't necessarily matter, but what does matter, and this is what people have to understand, what does matter is whatever you were brought back for here in this life, your attachment to that person now, like whatever that title is now. Like, let's say you had a past relationship with somebody, a past life relationship with somebody that has a, let's say like they're your brother here, but in a past life they were something else. Like in this life, you're supposed to fix that relationship as a brother, right? So it's like that is really important, and was really cool when you figure those things out and like learn soul contracts. And it's about whatever you're presenting here. It's about making that life right here. And a lot of people have to come back and do this life all over again if they don't do it right. So I'm not that person. I'm not the person that wants to do that. I don't want to come back to this exact life at all and do any of this all over. I appreciate it in this life. I don't want to do it over. No. So I'm going to get it right. And generational curses and generational hexes and generational trauma, that's real. That is real. And you have, some of us are chosen to be the ones in the family to break those cycles. And that has absolutely been one of my goals in my family, is to do that. They probably tired of hearing about it. But it is what it is. I've always gone against the grain. I've always moved in a way that maybe didn't make sense to people. But I understood why I was receiving the information I was receiving, why I was raised the way I was raised, why I was put in the positions I was put in. So, yeah. I just want everybody to stay in love and stay in light and claim what's yours already. You know what I'm saying? And show people love. Don't have that fear. I think we fear and assume so much about people, right? That we miss the information we're getting. We lose kind of focus on ourselves because we're so worried about outcomes and expectations. And when they say let it go, I think I want to find a new phrase for that somehow. Because I think in the 3D and like as in a human spirit and body, we hear let go sounds scary because let go means give up to us. That's not really what it means, but I think that's what it triggers. It triggers like give up, leave it alone forever. It's very forever. The word let go is very forever. Let go means if you prayed about it, if you manifest it, and you believe that you are talking to the God that you are talking to, and that you have given out these instructions, you said, this is what I want, this is what I'm trying to get, da da da, and then you just continue doing your work and you pray. You don't have to pray every single minute of every single day about that same thing, right? Now, manifestation can be different. There's different ways of manifesting. But I'm talking about when you are praying to God. Once you put that up there on the big man and he knows what's going on, and you talk to your spirit guides and your ancestors and you've had those conversations, like let it go really just means release control. Okay? So it's like filling out an application, putting the application in, and waiting for the call for the interview, right? Then it's the getting the call to the interview, taking the interview, now waiting for that response. That's all it means. It doesn't mean you have to let it go forever. It means just go on to the next step until that comes back to you. Because if it's something that is meant for you and it's something you manifested with God and you have that conversation with him, then it's yours. And people self-sabotage, trust me, because I do it all the time. I self-sabotage all the time. By accident, not on purpose. Know you belong. And that's, you know what I'm saying? Know you belong. If you have wings and you're a blue cat and you have glitter and you just know you belong. Even if you wear a glittery horn on your head and you're 40 and you like to play with toys. So, that's what I like to do. And I belong here because I'm here. So, change is unavoidable. And that's what I was saying. So, when you shift and when you ask for these shifts and when you're going through shifts and things are being shifted away or to you, change is going to happen. Change is awesome though. Like, oh my God, like if I didn't change, I'll be bored of my own self. Like, cause I get bored of my own self fast. So that's why I'm always doing different stuff. Observe in silence. So what I like about that is sometimes you have to watch. Sometimes you just have to watch. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can watch. You can observe humans, observe people, and observe your environments. Also, I think that's funny that came out because, also, like, this has been the season of, like, what we call the online stalkers, just people who don't want to be seen, but they're watching, and they're, it's that type of thing, too. But I like the observe in silence thing because I do that a lot. Like, I people watch a lot. And I learn a lot watching people. I watch how people act with other people. I watch how people act with, in their life and like in just in their environment and how they treat people. And that's also how you can learn, wash away your burdens. And that's what we're talking about with the forgiveness, right? And the spiritual baths and the spiritual showers and the things like that. Also crying it out, like get a good crying. It's such a release. But it's also about like, don't say things like, oh my God, I'm broke. And then be mad because you broke. No, I have money in the bank. I'm abundant. I have the house and the car that I want. I have the man that I want in my life. I have the all the tools that I need to create anything else that I want to create. That is how you have to speak, right? Because if you're walking around like, oh my God, like I ain't got no money for this and I'm broke for this, like you don't realize you're putting yourself in this whole spiral. Like you can't manifest through that. You have to be like, okay. Y'all know how we used to look at those people that used to walk around. I know because I got a couple of friends that are like that. They used to walk around and they would just walk in this like, it looked abnormally naive faith is what it looked like, right? They would just be like, oh yeah, I mean, because I already know I'm going to have this, and this, and this. And you would look at them like, what? How do you know that you had that? And it's like, they just put it out there that that's what they're going to have, and that's what they're going to have. And they had it, and then they got it. Now, be careful what you ask for, because that can come with all types of things, right? But that's what you asked for, right? And know that that doesn't mean you're going to get something so terrible it's going to tear you apart, because if God is sending it to you, it's not going to be for that, right? Embrace the masculine. So this has been coming out a lot. Embrace the masculine and embracing the feminine has been coming out a lot, because I told you there's about balancing your masculine and your feminine energies, but also it's about showing love. It's about putting yourself in a position to be open, to open your heart, and to be vulnerable. Like I used to be the person that was very, very vulnerable, and then I just brought in the wrong energies, right? So that kind of beat me down. And then now I'm like, and then I closed off, and I became like savage unicorn. And then now I'm more like, I'm just open. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just super open, and my heart does not feel the same way that it used to. It feels super open and not just like, I just had no clarity, and it was like, oh my God, like my energy is all over the place. And so it's like, I'm sure that looks all over the place to other people too, because like I think I was trying to just figure out through like old trauma and like pain and like baggage and like dating and like things not working out, like what is it that I want? And then it was like I had to have those moments where I was like, okay, like I want this. I want to be able to build with somebody. I want to be able to like heal with somebody, be able to be vulnerable enough to be like, I can break down and cry. You can break down and cry, but we can also have fun, and we can be kids together. We can, create things together, and your friends like my friends, or we bring in friends together, or whatever, like, and I think that's how I had to like start thinking about like, nah, I'm good. Like, give me my person. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever you create and co-create with your person, cool. But, like, give me my person first before I go into all these other shenanigans. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need my person to be, with me on this journey. Because this part of my journey, yeah. So, and timelines. Like, don't press the timelines, because you don't know what God is doing behind the scenes and what he's creating for you behind the scenes. So we don't really know like what the full timeline is. And that's what they mean by letting something go. It's not about quitting, giving up on that dream. What's meant for you is going to come back to you. It is about releasing control, though. It is absolutely about that. And then embracing the masculine, like, people need to be in that light energy, you know what I'm saying? Hug and love on each other, you know what I'm saying? That's really what's going to heal people. That's going to get people out of this nasty energy. The more we love up on each other, you know what I'm saying? Because that's really what it is. People need hugs and kisses out here. That's what it is. This pandemic had everybody in really crazy, just unbalanced energy. And also, it's the time that where the feminines and the masculines are trying to come back into their feminine and masculines. Like, I caught myself being hella domestic yesterday, like on another level. Like, I was like, what's going on today? Like, and it was not like, and I know I get like that sometimes, but that's not like in the forefront of my mind in that way. But like, I'm very nurturing. I'm very like a mothering person. Like, I feel like I'm always like the designated den mother everywhere. But it's also like, and then I like things a certain way, right? But I don't know. I feel like my grandmother jumped in my body or something yesterday. I was like, what is going on? Like, I was cleaning on just like a whole nother level. But it also like gave my brain clarity. It also moved my body. And, you know, I'm listening to music and things like that. So, you know, it's about really like staying in that energy, you know, showing love, not being afraid to do that. Like, the only thing we're ever afraid of is the person is not going to have the response you want them to have, right? If you don't even think about that or worry about that, then it's going to work in your favor, because why are you even putting that in the atmosphere? You know? So, seek your destiny. So, I like that card because it's very much about, like, it's got a lot going on. It's got, like, a tree, and then there's the eyeball, then there's a little jump, like a galaxy, and then, what the hell is that? I don't know. Some type of cat, lynx, something. But seek your destiny is, and that's what I talked about yesterday. Following your path, no matter the naysayers. And the more naysayers it is, the bigger that dream probably is. So just keep going. Like, I know the stuff that I be out here talking about. So surrender to the flow. And so make sure you, like I said, surrender to the flow. Make sure you going with the ebb and flow of things, not forcing, you know, the outcomes, not forcing the outcomes, not forcing your, like, oh my God, like, what's going to, if you ask for this, you don't need to know what happened in between this, and this to get here. Just be like, when it get here, just be like, oh, thank you, it's mine, thanks. Okay? You just unwrap the gift. You don't have to go all back into like, oh my God, how did we even get here? You know, unless you about to, you know, write a movie or something, because, you know, that's how I think. So, and seek the lesson, right? So this is confirming what I'm talking about. So it's really about letting it go, going through the lessons, seeking the lessons, letting it go, and just moving through that. You know what I'm saying? Understanding that is what divine timing is that the things that are being prepared for you to get the thing you asked for are in motion. You don't know what that motion is. And you're not supposed to. It's none of your business. And that's what I'm also talking to self. It's just also a reminder. Challenge your perception. So, I like that because sometimes we get stuck in something, right? We get stuck in this space of, this is what I asked for. It may come in another way. It could be come in another form. It could come in a situation you don't see it coming out of. It could come from something that you're like, oh yeah, there's no way that can happen. Or it could come in a different source. It could come in a different way. You really don't know. Like, you, at the end of the day, when you get in these thoughts and you have to question yourself too. Like, it's like you have to, like, differently. You need to be like, all right, I see it this way. This is like one thing. But now let me look at it on this side. Like, so it's very much about, like, perception is wild, because perception can really take you down the rabbit hole. And that's why I tell people to speak up, talk to people, talk to each other, talk to other people. Like, but not to accumulate a whole bunch of opinions, but really to just get different perceptions and aspects, and respecting that someone may have a different perception. Spirit, anything else for the collective? Protect the wild and green. Yeah, I never really understand what that card means. But I just believe that it's about protect the wild and green. I actually feel like that's about sharing information, protecting those who may not quite understand all of it, the ones that may not get the whole thing, the ones that maybe, need more healing, or, the reality of it is that everybody needs the opportunity to be able to be vulnerable and loved in a space and not judged, and given the space and time to, receive that, Be vigilant, stay on your path, stay strong in what you believe, stay strong in what God's telling you. And nurture all you love. So nurture all you love, regardless of how they love you. Give love back. If you feel in your heart that you love them and you are supposed to share them love, then that is what you need to do. Regardless, at the end of the day, that's just really important. Anything from this deck? Did something fly out? Oh, I'm not making that up. No. Okay. Anything this got little instruction cards. It's a kind of cool deck. So I just want, and this is my little, my Jinzen and cool sweatshirt for the Zennials, who are the, give or take 77 to 87-ish babies, but, analog childhood, digital, adulthood. A lot of us really don't stick in those other demographics. Really, we're more like the bridge. So this is my little Jinzen line. I will put the link on the... Do I have those up right now? I think I do. I don't know. I'm going to have to make a post later. But my shop with all my stuff, all my t-shirts, different designs, is in the link under my bio. There's a couple of different shops. There's the little chocolate shop, the Chocolate City shop. It's also the little Unlikely Friends. And I believe, yes, and Jinzen. So, okay. Surround yourself with your soul tribe. I just talked about that. Surround yourself with your soul tribe. Embrace your inner divine goddess or your inner divine God. So that is just really stepping into your own, embracing that, understanding that. Set your intentions with heart and soul. That's what we talked about. This is just summing up what we talked about. Ask for help. It doesn't make you weak. Perfect, Spirit. That was great advice for that reading. What's at the bottom of the deck? Trust your intuition. She's always right. Trust your intuition and ask for help. It doesn't make you weak. So, you got to the end of the end of the live. But yeah, so that's what's really important, guys. Forgiveness, talking to God, letting things, letting go of control when it comes to what you've asked God for, what you're manifesting. And look for signs of synchronicity. Sometimes angel sends numbers. You can Google those sometimes. Or that is how the angels speak to a lot of people right now. Like, technology is awesome right now, okay? Because you can have different conversations with spirit. Be bold. Don't be afraid to stand out. Don't be afraid to stand out. Don't be afraid to stand out. No, but really, I know people think I'm goofy all the time, but I'm magical. What can I say? And I was chosen to be magical because I couldn't help it. So, you know, tap into your things. And then, like, if you have gifts that you want to, like, hone in on and things like that, like, they got a lot of certifications, trainings, things like that, retreats, all types of things. Like, I want to get into some other learnings, like sound bowl stuff and things like that. So, yeah, so that's all. Stay positive, stay in the light, dance, celebrate, love. Like, love on somebody today. Like, maybe today's the day you got love up on somebody. Like, I just feel like a lot of, like, the energy is shifting. I mean, like, I was even looking at the tarot community and it's just shifted. Like, that new moon, people had to release. Like, we have to bring the love back in. People have been so nasty to each other. So it's just time to bring that love back. That's also why I'm in my, like, my Marley mode right now, you know. And yeah, that's it. And let go and let God, and understand that if you've been following Him and you've been following the light and you've been doing what you're supposed to do, that everything's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be all right. Thank you, Bob. But you know, because you just have to know that that's what's here for you, right? So what's yours is yours, and what God promised you is here. It's already here. So I will talk to you guys later. Love and light, and have a great day. Bye, guys.